Iran could be getting to the find out phase after President Trump held off on the bombing campaign to give diplomacy another chance. 47 is now telling the terror regime that it's now or never to cut a deal, or it's off with your head.
I want to give them every last chance before decapitation. I'm very proud of the fact that I'll give people a chance. This is a big move. To do an attack that big on a country, I'd rather not do it. Now, we've already, through lots of large attacks, but they were normal large. They called me and they said, please don't attack, we'll make a deal. That's the real truth, and everyone knows it.
Dana, everyone knows it. Does Iran know it? Will it sink in?
I feel like it's hard to say. And for threats to have an impact, they have to be believed. And right now, I don't know if Iran believes it. I don't know who we're talking to. And our president is very transparent. Like, we haven't even seen the gay Ayatollah because he's somewhere like with a injury to his face and he can't talk. So I don't know who's actually talking to him. And then when we have a ceasefire, then all of a sudden that you'll have one of our allies or a ship shot at. And then you have people like Saudi Arabia reportedly saying, Mr. President, can you give us another chance? We really want the diplomacy because we're afraid of what they can do to us. And that also, does that mean that we can't protect them? So I'm not exactly sure, but I did listen to General Keane yesterday, and he was pretty tough on our allies in saying, President Trump has given you guys the best opportunity for safety. He has taken the nuclear threat off the table, and you need to help him, whether it be flyover rights or letting him do what he needs to do in order to make this end. And that he, in his opinion, people can look it up, he was very tough on the allies. In addition, there are reports that China now is sending more munitions. And so we can draw down and incapacitate the Iranians, but if they keep getting resupplied and now they're hiding in the mountains and you don't know where they are, that makes it more difficult. But at the same time, our economy continues to do really well. So I think the president has room to run. Time is on his side, but his threats have to be believed to have an impact.
Tyrus, what do you see next for us?
Well, I see the biggest thing is that we need to take away Saudi Arabia's planes and stuff. We need to stop giving them gifts, because the problem is every time you think you can trust someone in the Middle East, they end up showing you who they really are. They're not willing to put any skin on this. They're fine with Israel taking it. They're fine with the United States taking it. And now it comes to a point where our oil fields might be in a little bit of danger because they're not willing to do the job. The problem is the president of the United States knows what needs to be done. His generals knows what to be done. You have to end Iran. And to do that, unfortunately, you got to have troops on the ground. And the president is well aware that the Americans, we do not have the stomach for that. They don't want to do that. Israel's saying, unleash the cuffs. We'll do what needs to be done. So they need to start saying, like, Saudi Arabia, we have protected you forever in a day. It is time for you to step up or handle it ourselves. The other side is that the president's going to have to make a choice. If you're going to end this, you got to end it now. And it's not pretty. And you're going to have to, unfortunately, but the men and women in this who serve this country know what it is. They know what needs to be done. And the reason why our president is trying for peace, and this one more talk thing, it becomes laughable because they're just looking at their calendar. Every time they can push 2 weeks away or 3 weeks or a month, gets closer to the next president. His time is limited, and Iran has done this for generations. Wait it out. We can wait it out. And when you have media that supports it, and you have China doing things like sliding us up, and you have Saudi Arabia saying, we don't like it, but we're not willing to get our feet wet, it's time you got to make some really tough decisions.
Jesse, do you see something changing in the future in that way?
Yeah, I mean, we whipped Iran in what, 38 days?
Yeah.
Gave peace a chance. They blew it. We whipped them again for 2 weeks straight. Now we're here. They're about to surrender the strait, and they have to because they're losing hundreds of millions of dollars a day. And our stock market just hit another record high. Oil just closed at 78. So, like, the last 2-week aerial campaign really hit them hard. These strategic islands, all the rail, all the coastal installations, we pushed their firepower way back. And U.S. intel knows exactly where the gay Ayatollah is, knows exactly where all these leaders are. So when Trump says decapitation, that's why they're climbing down. That's why Bessent, Rubio, and Qatar, and all the Middle East publication said, yeah, right now they're negotiating over just a few minor details in the strait, basically the north-south route, whether they're going to let the Europeans demine the middle passage, and some administrative fees. And so you keep hearing, oh, the United States is running out of munitions. Really? CENTCOM hasn't even dipped into global stockpiles. Not yet. And the Defense Production Act's been invoked 2 months ago. That's just strategic leaks to get the Democrats to vote for the Pentagon spending. And you also hear about, oh, well, the strait was open before the war. Well, before the war, Iran had a nuclear program. They had a military. They had an economy. And they had a straight Ayatollah. Now they have none of that. So one way or the other, the strait's going to open. In order for Iran to survive, the strait has to open. And if we don't like the deal, blockade stays, sanctions still stay slapped on, and we're sitting pretty.
That's so exciting, Jessica. It's a win for America on the horizon. Are the Democrats celebrating and looking forward to thanking President Trump and supporting that?
I don't even think Jesse could find a lot of Republicans that would be as enthusiastic about the current conditions. And there are two of them sitting to his left who didn't have the same kind of appraisal. It was funny about the straight Ayatollah. We do agree to disagree. Listen, I'm sure that decapitation sounds the same as decimation, obliteration, and total destruction, which are other things that President Trump has said are going to rain down on the Iranians. The bridge and power plant days, their navies sunk, their armies obliterated, whatever it is, the art of the deal has not gotten us particularly far at this point. And when the president comes out yesterday posting on Truth Social, the Iranian leadership is unbelievably duplicitous. Duh, everybody knows that. And you are the one who keeps pushing it as maybe they send you a text, a WhatsApp, a Signal chat, whatever it is, saying we'd like to come back to the table. And then they get another few days and then another few days. And if they get really lucky, then they get to sell their oil on the open market for a couple of weeks, make a ton of money. Our oil prices go down. You're thrilled about $78. I remember when you bragged in my face that it was at $70. So guess what? It's ticking back up.
Still pretty good.
You want to dismiss this report in Reuters about the fact that we have used virtually all of our long-range precision missiles in the war. I have been told before that every leak is a lie, and I'm a traitor, and everyone who says those kinds of things is going to jail for treason or whatever. There are so many of these leaks that have come to fruition, dating back to The Atlantic, where I think it was from J.D. Vance or J.D. Vance's team that said that we are concerned about the amount of long-range missiles that we have and our ability to carry this out and also defend our allies and the rest of the world. When China is looking at Taiwan, licking their lips.
We haven't even borrowed from Asia.
Then there's...
We haven't even borrowed from Europe.
Okay.
Why are you acting like we're running out of weapons? That's like Kentucky
because
running out of bourbon.
Or horses, Jesse.
It's never going to run out of
the
weapons.
Kentucky Derby without racehorses.
I don't.
And I would just like, real quick, I'm sorry.
Has a lot of
I don't have a
because
problem with
Canada
what the
won't buy it
president's doing.
anymore. I know,
No problem.
beautiful story.
I think the reason why he's slowed up is because he's worried about peace and the American people's opinions first.
Yeah, he's also the guy who said, I don't care about the midterms. I'm going to do what has to be done. So now he's just changed his mind.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Sending troops in is a lot bigger than
There
where
is
he loses
also
votes.
the story about CENTCOM sending out an email to a broad group of military analysts last week saying, we're looking for new and creative and unconventional ways to pressure and punish Iran. Because what we are doing is not working. And if the reports are true that Iran and Oman are negotiating over the strait themselves and that we are being sidelined in that negotiation.
Why do you think it's not working? They have no nuke program. They have no nuclear scientists.
You are the only person
They're all
that
dead,
looks at
Jessica.
this and says that everything is fine. Even President...
Everything is under the ground. They
Okay.
can't even get the uranium. They have no Navy, Air Force. They barely have any defense industrial base.
Okay.
They can't make more weapons, and their economy is in a Great Depression.
Yeah.
Their currency is in free fall. They have no allies, and we've barely had any casualties,
China
and oil's at
Russia.
78.
They have
How do you
China
think we're losing this war, Jessica?
Because I'm looking at the evidence on the ground and the report.
The evidence on the ground is that these people are living in caves, and the leader is disfigured, and no one even knows if he's alive.
Well, he's alive and at the gay clubs, no?
Yeah, not for long.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.